Hail and Meshes Adventures! Today we're jumping into World of Baldur's Gate 3 to answer one question. What is best race for Barbarian? So, you decided to pick Barbarian as your main class. But what race to pick? Race will determine how powerful your class will be, because different races give you different features. So for example, if you pick human, you will have pretty balanced character with +1 to every attribute. And you can just go and use recommended on your abilities, attributes, or you can just go and dump them as you like. So for Barbarians, most important stat is strength. You see this awesome star over here. This tells you that you want to drop in strength as much points as possible. And you can start with 16 when you're playing human. Next important stat is con or dex. It's debatable. Dex will increase your armor class, and when you're playing Barbarian, most of the time you will play without armor actually. And constitution will give you a lot of HP. That way you can just actually go and drop into constitution just almost all in again for 16 in the start and just dump something into dex. Don't go all in on dex because you will have 0 points left and you will be left with -1 to intelligence, wisdom and charisma. That's why better just save 2 points from dex. You will leave it at 14 with +2 bonus, and this means you will have +2 to your armor class, and just drop some into int, wis and charisma. That way you will have pretty balanced character. But you know, Barbarians don't need wisdom, so you can just save this wisdom point and drop +2 into intelligence or charisma, depending on how much you want to roleplay in what category. Charisma will give you some deception, persuasion checks, and intelligence will help you with investigation and other stuff. So let's get back to races. Human is nice pick, again, as I told you. What about elf? There are different types of elves: high elf, wood elf, and basically that's it. So high elf will give you some magic cantrips that you can use. Most of them will be powerful enough if you have high intelligence, but you won't have it as Barbarian, so this is not very useful. But whatever elf you choose, you will have keen senses, which will increase your proficiency in perception checks, +2 to dex, and some proficiency in weapons, but no armors. And subrace for high elf will give you +1 int, while wood elf will give you +1 wisdom. So this subrace traits will give you kinda nothing. And your barbarian stats when you're starting out will look like this. So basically very understated barbarian. That's why picking elf is not very good for barbarian. But what about half elf? Half elf is actually pretty decent. So we have drow half elf, wood half elf, and high half elf. Subrace trait will give base racial speed for high half elf, while wood half elf will have higher movement speed. You can travel a lot more in fights, and this is actually good trait. And proficiency in stealth. While you won't be stealthy all the time as barbarian, you still can sneak up and surprise your enemies. And you know, when you're surprising enemies with some crazy attacks, it's really scary. And drow half elf will give you dancing lights, which will help you hit your targets in the dark. All half elves will give you dark vision, which will increase your seeing in the dark, so this is good stat too, and +2 to charisma. While having charisma is not essential for barbarian, cool race feature which give you ability to allocate points, +1 points that you want into some categories is actually nice. So when you're playing half-elf barbarian, it's not strongest class, but you can still have +1 strength, for example, +1 con, and you will be left with something like this. So just remove your intelligence, add some charisma or some dex, and you will have pretty unintelligent, 0 wisdom dump barbarian, you know, but very charismatic and with nice dexterity, nice strength and nice con. So this race is really viable for some weird barbarian role-playing. Another good race for barbarian is Dwarf. So Dwarf, what a gorgeous barbarian actually. Why Dwarf? because basically he will have +2 con from race features, Dwarven Resilience to have saving throws advantage against poison and resistant to poison damage, proficiency in battle axe and hand axe. This is really the weapon of barbarians, and that's very good, because barbarians not coming with this proficiency. Hammers and warhammers works nice too. Dark Vision again is very nice rate, but when you picking Dwarf for Barbarian, consider switching from Gold Dwarf to Shield Dwarf. And this is really straightforward. Gold Dwarf will give you +1 Wisdom, while Shield Dwarf will give you +2 Strength. And basically with this Dwarf you can start with 17 into Strength and 17 into Constitution. This is actually insane if you ask me, because after you level up you will be able to hit 18/18 for +4 bonus in each ability. This is insane, this is very strong, and you basically can allocate your points just like that. And last but not least, what is good race for Barbarian? Actually, Dwarf is one of my favorite. I think this is like most strongest barbarians that you can have, but another one pick is Githyanki. Githyanki, while not looking like very strong guys, you know, I thought they will be like powerful orcs, but they really skinny guys still have +2 strength to start out with. And +2 strength is an incredible start for Barbarian. Again, you can start with 17 into strength, some con, and after you level up you will go into 18 into strength and 16 into con. So why Githyanki is a good pick? Basically it's really straightforward and easy race, but Githyanki when you level up will unlock some cantrips. It's Githyanki Psionics, so Mage Hand and other cantrips that Githyanki will have is utility cantrips that you can use to have some fun, you know, inflict some mess into battlefield. Maybe before the battle you can use this hand to mess around with some stuff on the battlefield, put some, you know, boxes and other stuff, so you can go sneak out behind these boxes, or maybe disrupt some opponents. They will go for this hand and you come out from behind, other stuff. So it's a really funny race for Barbarian. So, if you picked Barbarian as your main race, I really recommend you go and watch this video on the screen right now. This is my guide to Barbarian, what to do on level up, and there will be no spoilers, so completely free to watch. Enjoy this level 5 Barbarian guide. Subscribe for the kingdom, guys.